again to Joe Stunner Boxing. I hope you're doing well. USA Boxing have released a statement of policy for 2024 concerning transgender boxers. Now, this is, of course, going to be considered controversial. I'm going to read you the statement, and I'm going to do my best to explain things as I go along. Although I must point out I am not medically trained. I only know things in layman's terms, but maybe you know more about it than I do. Maybe a lot of the terminology will mean a bit more to you than it does to me. I don't know. But let me start at the beginning. I'll read the statement and then we'll take it from there. Okay, so this only applies to boxers over the age of 18. Under 18, no transgender boxers allowed, okay, to fight, real women or real men, as far as what I would call real women or real men. They call them people born. You know what I mean? You know what I'm getting at. All right, so this applies only to people over the age of 18. Now, for boxers over the age of 18, USA Boxing follows the guidance of the International Olympic Committee's 2015 consensus meeting decision in Chand versus Athletics Federation of India and International Amateur Athletic Federation, and the 2022 United States Olympic-Paralympic Committee medical and scientific discussion pertaining to transgender athletes in sport, which cites studies from the Boston Children's Hospital Sports Medicine and Harvard Medical School Teaching Hospital. Now, this is an important bit. Apart from all that word salad we've just heard, concentrate on this bit. Normal range of testosterone for males is defined as more than 10 nanomoles per litre, and normal range of testosterone for females is less than 3.1 nanomoles per litre. Now, a nanomole is a measuring term. Apparently, a nanomole is a billionth of a mole, and it's contained within the serum. But if you can just think of it, a nanomole as a measuring term, okay? So with men, normal testosterone, or the normal range of testosterone for males, is defined as more than 10 nanomoles per litre. And the normal range of testosterone for females is less than 3.1 nanomoles per litre. And that, of course, is because men have more testosterone in them, so that stands to reason. Now we get to the meat of the subject, meat on the plate. A boxer who transitions from male to female is eligible to compete in the female category under the following conditions. The athlete has declared that her gender identity is female and has completed gender reassignment surgery. So we are talking about men who have decided they want to be women, and they have, breast implants, and they have their genitals, their penis and testicles removed, and a fake vagina put in, and so on and so forth, and they have testosterone or hormonal treatment for a number of years. I've known a couple of transgender women in the past, and the hormone treatment goes on for a long, long time. And of course, I don't know about in America, but in Britain, before you even have this surgery, you have to live as a woman for a long period of time. I think it used to be a year or 2 years. I think it's a year, but and you have to. And this is designed to make sure that you are absolutely certain you want to have this irreversible surgery. Don't forget, we're talking about adults here, not kids, thank God. But we are not talking about some, narcissistic, infantile little twat who says that he identifies as a woman and therefore I'm changing my pronouns, and you all have to think of me as a woman even though I've still got a fucking cock and balls. We're not talking about those idiots. We're talking about someone who has at least made the effort and shown their intent, and their sincerity has shown that this is not a fad. And there is a universe of difference as far as I'm concerned. Anyway, I know there are other issues, but we'll get to them later. Okay, so The athlete for a minimum of 4 years after surgery has had quarterly hormone testing and presents USA Boxing documentation of hormone levels. Okay, let me repeat that. The athlete for a minimum of 4 years after surgery has had quarterly hormone testing and presents USA Boxing documentation of hormone levels. So the transgender woman will have to provide documentation that their hormone levels have been at what falls into a normal female category. Okay. However, it's something interesting for you. The next point is the athlete must demonstrate that her total testosterone level in serum has been below 5 nanomoles, 5 nanomoles, for at least 48 months prior to her first competition, with the requirement for any longer period to be based on a confidential case-by-case evaluation, considering whether or not 48 months is a sufficient length of time to minimize any advantage in women's competition. Okay, 2 problems here. One is not so much a problem, maybe a question, because again, I'm not medically trained, so there may be a reason I'm not aware of. But previously it was stated very, very clearly, very explicitly, that the normal range of testosterone for females is less than 3.1 nanomoles. In this, we're talking about an athlete demonstrating that the total testosterone level has been below 5 nanomoles, which is higher. Now, do athletes have more testosterone? Is that what they're getting at? I don't know. But it's a question that has to be answered because the 2 levels do not tie in. To me, more problematic is this business, which I'm going to repeat. The requirement for any longer period, rather than the 48 months, to be based on a case-by-case evaluation, considering whether or not 48 months is sufficient length of time to minimize any advantage in women's competition. Well, you're opening up a can of worms there. I mean, this sounds like the thin end of the wedge to me, if I want to mix my cliches. Okay, a case-by-case. This is getting into grey areas. This is getting into areas which can be strongly manipulated. And a case-by-case evaluation, evaluated by one doctor or another doctor. The 2 may disagree. It seems to me this is a very grey area that is open to extreme exploitation, potentially. Okay. So we move on to the final point, which is that the athlete's total testosterone level in serum must remain below 5 nanomoles throughout the period of desired eligibility to compete in the female category. Again, 5 nanomoles, not 3.1. All right. Well, yeah, I've covered that point a moment ago, so I won't go into it again. But that is the policy statement from USA Boxing. They are going to allow transgender women to fight women under these circumstances. What do I think about this? I've stated my concerns as I was going through it. I will say that in my opinion, and this is a moral, not a scientific statement, I can think of nothing more misogynistic than men hitting women. Now, another thing that I think is important, which does broach on scientific evidence, is that the difference in physiology between men and women it's the structure, the skeleton is thicker, the bone density is thicker, the ligaments are often stronger. If you put, let's take featherweight, a 126 pound man and a 126 pound woman, generally speaking, in most cases, because there are always exceptions to any generalization, the man would be physically stronger than the woman. And you can argue, well, yeah, but with all these, with if we do the testosterone thing with the nanomoles and all this, it'll even the playing field. I'm not convinced. I'm not convinced at all. I'm not convinced. We have a pandemic or an epidemic maybe of PED use in non-transgender boxing, certainly in male boxing. And all sorts of people are getting away with all sorts of things. People are getting caught, thank goodness. At least some of them are caught, but not all of them are caught. It seems to me that this is going to be a very, very difficult thing to police. And we know about boxing. We know about different states have different regulations and commissions. The British Boxing Board of Control is in charge in the UK. You have different ruling bodies that have different rules. You have different testing with different illegal substances on different lists. This is going to be very, very difficult to police. Very difficult. So, what do you think? Give me your opinions. Please let me know what you think. You don't have to agree with me, of course. You don't have to agree. You can either agree with the policy or disagree with it. But when you leave your comment below, please explain why you hold that view. And it might be a scientific view. Again, I'm not a scientist. It might be an ethical view, a moral view, or it's all acceptable. I just want to hear your honest opinions and why you hold those views. All right. Thank you for your time. Thank you for your time. And as always, please subscribe to this channel if you're new. Please hit the like button if you don't mind as well, because that helps us out. And I'm going to be really interested to read your comments. And of course, spread the word about Joe Stunner Boxing. Much love to all of you, and bye for now.